All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here again, talking real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. All right, here are the Prowlers. These are good guys in a hard-rocking, bluesy, old-school band. Check their music out. Prowlers-music.com or prowlers-music.com. What I like about the Prowlers is they just go out there and play great music, and they're decent people. In other words, they're not part of the cultural revolution, the Marxism that has occurred in the music industry and pretty much everywhere else. They believe in normal things. They believe in liberty and freedom, and so the Prowlers, check them out. Prowlers-music.com. Another guy who in the old days was pretty rebellious was John Mellencamp, formerly known as Little Johnny Cougar back in the day. He was talking to the New York Times, referring to the fact that he used to get in physical fights all the time. This is kind of a weird article, just admitting how crazy and out of control you were back in the day. But I remember hearing about this stuff way back in those days, that he was a bit hard to deal with, that he was attempting to be like Jim Morrison or something, although he was far more physical than Jim Morrison was. Jim Morrison was just kind of a weirdo, whereas Mellencamp was mad. And from what I've heard, even recently, that Mellencamp is still kind of a grumpy guy. He's not really all that happy with his success or his life, which I think tells you a lot. And it also points to the idea that, you know, all of the success and money and fame, it's not necessarily going to make you happy. You know, it's a pretty simple concept that is spoken of in a certain good book that you might want to read sometime. Anyway, so Mellencamp, talking about some of the fights he got in, he says here, "I punched the blonde-haired singer of the Cars." So the late, great Ben Orr, whose name he doesn't mention here, got punched out by John Mellencamp, although he says that he fought all the time and lost all the time. So maybe Ben Orr fought back and punched him out. By the way, Ben Orr, he died a long time ago, like I think like over 20 years ago, like back around 2000, I think, ending the hopes of a full-fledged Cars reunion. And of course, we lost Rick Ocasek a couple of years ago. And so just a tragedy. The Cars were such an amazing band, and apparently, you know, whoever is teaming up bands together, like Mellencamp opening for the Cars, or John Cougar in those days opening for the Cars. Yeah, no, I would be like, nah, this isn't going to work. I mean, you need a band that has got maybe some new wave credentials and not like this heartland rock guy. But in those days, sometimes you had kind of some odd pairings going on. Anyway, Mellencamp also took a shot at Gene Simmons and Kiss, and this is kind of interesting. Mellencamp says, "My band and I were terrible, but we were better than Kiss." I might buy into that. "I was a young kid full of energy, and the reviews said John Cougar blew the place up last night, and Gene Simmons would look at me like he wanted to kill me." Now, Gene was a kingmaker in those days, too. I mean, didn't Gene basically discover Van Halen, sent the record label a tape and said, "Hey, you really need to check out this guy playing guitar," you know, talking about Eddie Van Halen. So Mellencamp goes on, he says, "In his wild early days on the road, Mellencamp got kicked off the tours headlined by Kiss, REO Speedwagon, Rainbow, and others. He detailed being dismissed from touring with REO Speedwagon. Really? You can't get along with REO Speedwagon? Those guys will tour with just about anybody. He says, I think it only lasted for 3 shows with REO. He said here that they had these ego ramps, those great big ramps going into the audience. Ego ramps. That's interesting. So Mellencamp here, he's telling it like it is. So when the singer walks out there, he can basically stroke his own ego and everybody's looking at him and so forth. The first thing REO Speedwagon told me was to stay off the ramps. And I said, F you, I'm going out. The second night, they lined the ramps with folding chairs. So I kicked them off the stage. See, I like, all right, so Mellencamp, he's got his issues, right? But this is very entertaining. This storytelling about the early days. I mean, he was trying to make it in this industry. He's trying to be noticed. He was being rebellious, and I kind of like some of that. I think he's probably taking it too far these days. Look, everything is focus tested. The audience doesn't know half the material you're going to play. They're waiting for Jack and Diane. They're waiting for Hurt So Good. He said, I think, that he didn't want to sing Hurt So Good, or he used to not sing it, and then he's playing it, but he's playing it very different from the way people remember it. And overall, people hate that. I'm just saying, I don't mind it as kind of like a music buff, somebody who likes different versions of things and can get into it to some degree. But a lot of people, they're paying all this money to go see these shows, and they feel as though you're ripping them off if you're not playing the songs the way they remember them. And then there's the voice. I mean, Mellencamp sounds just a tad different than I remembered. And people were saying, what, you haven't listened to him lately? And I'm like, nope. I mean, hearing this new song, it's called The Eyes of Portland. The song makes an interesting point, and the people that Mellencamp supports in politics, those are the people that caused the Eyes of Portland. It's just bizarre. And yeah, I support Michael Bloomberg for president. Oh, okay, John. And the current guy who's got some issues. I mean, everybody running for president apparently just has classified documents somewhere on them. So if you're running for president, check to see. Maybe somebody has stashed some classified documents in your pocket, and you don't want to have those. Anyway, the singer's new album, Orpheus Descending, will arrive on June the 16th. In his current North American dates, he performs 2 songs from the album, Hey God and The Eyes of Portland. 2 songs, because that's all the audience is going to put up with. They want to hear Hurt So Good. And if you're not playing Pink Houses, Hurt So Good, and like the 4 songs that they beat into the ground every day in the iHeart radio industrial complex, then all hell might break loose, and $14 beer bottles may be hurled at the stage. Either that, or you're just going to have people heckling like they have been doing. Apparently those people in Cleveland who are just unkempt and uncouth and shouldn't be attending, they're Neanderthals, and they shouldn't be attending rock concerts. Look, folks, Neanderthals go to rock concerts. I used to go to rock concerts a lot, and I consider myself a high-grade Neanderthal, okay? Dragging my knuckles across the floor. Oh, I'm sure people are going to just love what I just said there and take it out of context and say, he admits he's an idiot. Yeah, I admit it. It's just great. I mean, everybody else is doing it, so I might as well just jump on board. Hey, you think I suck? Okay, great. Anyway, I'm a little bit goofy today, and it's not the medication, because I've stopped taking the medication. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I should continue on the medication. These guys, all natural band, no medication needed. The Prowlers, not part of the medical industrial complex, not fans of Dr. Fauci. So I like this band. Yeah, there you go. That's my video. Don't forget about Modern Retro Radio, modernretrofm.com, playing. Maybe they're playing some Mellencamp. They might be playing The Eyes of Portland or Hey God. You might want to check the station out because they play new material from classic artists, and those two songs would, I think, fit the bill. All right, people, thanks for supporting the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. You can hit the bell for notifications. I don't know if you're going to get a notification. People have been telling me, yeah, I'm supposed to get notifications. I'm not getting them. So yeah, you might have to make a point of actually going to the page and clicking on the video and watching it, putting it on repeat play. Although I hear there's an algorithm that detects repeated plays. So if that's true, I'm really up what's creek if that's true, because my audience all knows that they need to put the videos on repeat play and just let them play all day. Just walk away from the computer and let them play. If you can watch me on the big screen, that's even more impressive, right? And scary as well. Patreon, there you go. Patreon. You know what? The patrons are getting me through. With revenue crashing, Patreon, you guys are keeping this thing going. So if you can do $1 or $2 a month, and by the way, if you're a band like the Prowlers and you want to have a conversation about your music, I might be willing to put you on. You never know. I mean, if certain other people, they don't want to talk to me, then I'll just talk to all the underdogs in the world, and will launch their career into the stratosphere right here on this meager little channel with its meager little audience, with its meager production value. Yeah, I'm just in a mood, folks. All right. Thanks again. God bless you all. God bless America. And stay away from classified documents if you can.